because it matters what you think about this one. Okay, that's the thing you need to be most concerned about. Good morning, Jay. Good morning, everyone. All right, so we are on 7 platforms every morning, and so I've got a camera here, I've got a camera up there, I've got a camera over there, have a monitor over here, have a monitor over there. So, because the other day somebody goes, well, yeah, you're kind of shifty because we see your eyes go all over the place. And then these are my reading glasses, so they kind of like magnify my eyes, get big bubble eyes, like that. so, so anyway, yeah, if you see me looking around, it's not because I'm shifty. It's because I have to keep track of everything. And you guys, good morning, Billy. Good morning, guys. Yay, everybody's coming. All right. So today we're going to talk about inner beliefs. Okay, what do you really believe about this one? This one here, okay? Because that's what's really important in your life. Why? Because other people, okay, are not concerned about you in the way that you think, unless they're your parents. Okay, other than that, right? And I worked in some pretty toxic work environments, and it was or what you might call a dog eat dog type environment. Okay, that's an old school idiom. That's an old school term, right? Dog eat dog. Okay, and all it means is a competitive work environment, a competitive industry. Okay, and I've worked in several competitive industries. One of them, the entertainment industry. Okay, and the radio industry, radio and television industry. It's very competitive, but it's not openly competitive. Okay, it's competitive under the surface. But here's what I'll tell you about your inner beliefs and reprogramming your inner beliefs. Okay, so it's more important about how you feel about you and what you believe in, okay, your core values, your core beliefs, than it is about what's going on around you. Never mind what's going on around you. And that's the only way I survived all of that. Okay, so in an entertainment industry, okay, so radio, television, entertainment, these are all industries that are competitive. So everybody competes. They don't compete openly like sports. It's not like you go out in the field and you challenge somebody. It's not like that. Okay? But there's competition. Now, you can have two kinds of mindsets: competition mindset and creative mindset. Let me explain the difference. In a competitive mindset, okay, you're operating in scarcity. Because what you're really telling your subconscious, okay, it's called subconscious for a reason, it's underneath everything. What you're really telling your subconscious is there's not enough. I need to compete. Right? Now, this could be true in business, this could be true in sports, okay, because, right, there's not enough points, right? We got to make more points. Why? Because we need to make money. Okay, so everything at the bottom of everything is commerce. Okay, money's at the bottom of everything. Follow the money. But if you're in a competitive mindset, okay, competitive mindset versus creative mindset, you start automatically getting into scarcity, getting into lack, getting into less than. And what does that do to you over time? Over time, it makes you do this, okay, because human beings are very impressionable. So, what this does to you over time is takes your thinking like this and kind of goes like this, kind of goes like that. And now you're operating from scarcity instead of abundance. So, yesterday we were talking a little bit about that, but today I'm going to address inner beliefs. So, if you're in a competitive job where you have to compete against people, eventually you will start to feel that way against others or about others, or it will become a part of your personality. Why? Because human beings become what they practice. And if you practice it at work, it will spill right into your private life. Okay, so we always talk about this, right? And we always address stress. Okay, stress is so important. It's so important to undo stress, to unwind, to take your me time, your personal time. Okay, why is that? Well, because you are awareness. You're not your body, you're not your name, you're that energy that lives in here. And what happens? Well, awareness kind of looks like this, right? We always say this. Now, under stress, under a lot of work, under pressure, okay, time constraints, the clock, the calendar, all of that, deadlines, okay? You become like this. Now, when you go on vacation, right? Because you need a vacation, right? Okay, from the stress, from the work, right? What happens? Oh, now awareness goes like this. Why? Because it's not being inundated with stress. The more you stress a person out, the smaller their awareness gets. It doesn't go away. It goes into hiding. It goes like this, okay? And when a person becomes aware, okay, then they start to be resensitized because you're desensitized in the other scenario, in the stress scenario. Stress can kill people, okay? Where do you think anxiety comes from? Okay, now anxiety in our modern world comes from a lot of things, right? It comes from scrolling on social media, it comes from television commercials. I even showed one of my clients that radio commercials provoke people into urgency for sales. Okay, you know that pulsating music that you hear in the back of certain commercials? Okay, do you know what it does to your nervous system? It keeps you on edge, it puts you on edge. You're driving down the highway, you're listening to the commercial, you're listening to the words. Your subconscious is listening to the urgency that it's provoking. So there's a deeper thing going on, okay? A deeper thing going on in society, a deeper thing going on in government, a deeper thing going on in religion, a deeper thing going on in radio and television commercials, in scrolling, in advertising. Okay, there's a manipulation thing happening. Now it depends on what it is. And when I say manipulation, I don't always mean it's negative because you can manipulate something into the positive. It depends on what the motives are and what the destination is. Follow the money. Always follow the money. So now, about inner beliefs. What do you believe about you? Because that's what's really important. Wolf Dog, good morning. Wolf to Wolf Dog, good morning. Long time no see. Welcome back. So, sorry, there's a chat over there. So, so what are your inner beliefs about you? What do you believe about you? Well, if you're being conditioned by your job, if you're being conditioned by your religion, if you're being conditioned by your government, if you're being conditioned by radio and television commercials or by scrolling, whatever you see, just know that anything you see that you participate with, you engage with like this. Stress caused ulcers for your dad that took his life. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, stress will do that. Stress will do that. Wow, that's terrible. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, like I said, stress kills. Okay. But it acts out in other ways. Let me just address that for a second, okay? So you know people come down with cancer, like just like that. My best friend was like that. He came down with cancer. Like it was weird the way it happened. Okay. These are an expression. The body goes through an expression, okay, of sorts as an expression against stress. It starts acting out in other ways. And this is why stress is no good. It's not just the immediate thing. It's not like you get stressed out and it'll just kill you right there. No, it starts to act out in the body as other things, as illnesses, as dis-ease, okay, or disease. Oh, there you go. And that's why I say disease is dis-ease. A lot of people say that, wolf to wolf dog, because it's true. Yeah, good. Disease. You're bi-curious, but what? So you're here, bi-curious, buddy. Okay, all right. Okay. User, thank you, user. He's a comedian like me. Yeah, I used to be a comedian. I used to do comedy. So your inner beliefs, what do you believe about yourself to be true? Okay, so you need to write these things down. Okay, I have clients that have not addressed these things yet. Okay, and I have them write it down. I have them make a list. Why? Because when you make a list, it starts going into your subconscious. This is why you do affirmations. Okay? Okay. All right. Well, I haven't been user, but thank you very much. Thank you for that statistic. It's too much. So your inner beliefs, right? What do you believe about yourself? What do you believe to be true? Okay. Now we went through several scenarios and things related to my life. Okay. But let's say, for example, you believe you're not enough, or maybe you feel you're not qualified to do whatever it is you're doing, or maybe you feel you're not worthy. A lot of people feel they're not worthy, okay, but they don't feel it in unworthy terms, okay? But when you start to observe, when you start to dig deeper and ask questions, then you start to find out, oh, okay, this person thinks they're not worthy, okay? Now, what do? What's the remedy for this? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Why is that? Because you need to work from the subconscious level. Because things will happen on the surface level, okay? Like we were talking about surface knowledge the other day, okay? On the surface, okay, we're talking about emotions, okay? All negative emotions are rooted in fear. Now, at the surface level, when you're experiencing different, let's say different negative emotions. Okay, so we're talking about worry, irritation, disappointment, doubt, okay, shame, guilt, these things. Now, when you start, you know, feeling these emotions, pretty soon what happens? Well, self esteem goes down, okay, which is the becomes an inner belief after a while. Why? Because you repeat it, because you keep feeling it. Now it's in repetition in your subconscious. And now, because it's in your subconscious repeating itself, because your subconscious repeats it, because it learns in repetition, now what? Well, now you have a complex to get rid of, if you choose, right? Not everybody, and when you hear the term, people love the rut that they're in. Okay, it's not necessarily that they love the rut that they're in. They're just stuck in the box and they don't get out of the box to look back into the box to realize the difference. They don't know. They don't realize. They're just stuck over and over and over. Hi Maxine, good morning. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Maxine. But they're stuck, right? Because that's all they know. Dr. Joe Dispenza has a very good way of explaining that. And his way of explaining it is you have these feelings, you have this pattern, you have these problems, okay? And you carry them with you throughout the day. And let's call it a 16-hour period. Now you go to bed, you take these problems with you. They're unresolved. Now you wake up the next day and you have all of these problems again, and you think about them again, and it goes into your subconscious again, and now you're reinforcing these again. Guess what happens? Now they're in today. Tomorrow, when you wake up, if they're unresolved, and most of them will be unresolved, why? Because they're in your subconscious. They've become a part of who you are. And now what? Now they're in tomorrow and the next day. So Dr. Joe Dispenza's position, and I totally agree, and I see it every day, is you repeat the pattern over and over. So repeat, 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 repeat. And then one day you run out of life over here. Now you have lived that whole life like that, and you don't know the difference. See, I had an opportunity. I slept on a sidewalk for months, okay, at an exit door of a theater in Chinatown. And when I was in my 20s, in my early 20s. And I had an opportunity to stay there. I had an opportunity to keep, going that way. Because it gets progressive if you don't change it. If you don't change, but what do you have to change? You have to change your mind. You have to change. It's all about mindset. Change your mind, change your life. Okay. But what we're talking about today is inner beliefs, core beliefs. Okay, Costas, good morning. Aloha to everybody in Greece this morning. Yep, Dr. Dispenza is a good guy. But your inner beliefs, right? In order to change it, you need to reinforce it. You can't just think it. It's nice to say, well, I'd like to be like that. I'd like to get rid of this habit. I'd like to lose a few pounds. I'd like to, right? But it goes deeper than that. It goes into your subconscious. I've been teaching this for 37 years. Because your body, let's say your subconscious, your body gets to memorize these actions and it does it better than you. How does that work? Well, your subconscious works faster than your conscious mind. Your subconscious is like that. It has memorized the action. Therefore, it does not need to consider it. It just performs it. Your conscious mind thinks 80,000 thoughts on average a day. The predominant thoughts go into your subconscious. They begin to form habits depending on how much you think about it. So ask yourself, what do I think about the most? Okay, if you're thinking about work the most and you have a family, you need to balance. Okay, I don't have a family. I don't need that kind of balance, but I need balance, other types of balance. Balance is important, okay, because if you're too like this, okay, if you're too heavy here with, let's say, whatever it is, right, responsibilities or whatever, and you're not getting enough me time over here, then you have to increase this so you can do this. But as far as inner beliefs go, okay, what I have my clients do is I have them start with 100 positive I ams. Write it down and then look at it. Okay, don't just make it up. Just really consider what you are. If you're smart, write down, I am smart. Don't be ashamed of that. Don't hold back. Okay, this is not about ego. This is about helping yourself. A lot of people, in our society, we live in a society of convenience, right? We don't learn the law. We go to the lawyer. Okay. Then, we go to Costco, we eat in bulk, and then, well, it's okay if we get sick because we'll go to the HMO and they'll cure us in bulk or of bulk, whatever. Okay. But when you do the work yourself, it's not really that difficult. So I'm here to tell you that manifestation is not about magic. It's not about black magic or voodoo or any of that. It's about your subconscious. And it's just as easy to perform good habits as bad habits, because habits are habits. A habit is something you do over and over again. That's it. When you put a good habit into your subconscious, that's what starts repeating. Good habits. Costas, do genes determine us from birth play a big role? You're talking about epigenetics. Yeah, it does. But you can change that. So neuroplasticity tells us that we can form new neural pathways in the brain. So, but again, it's subconscious because you have to repeat the process. So like if you learn to paint, or if you learn, my mother learned to paint in her 80s. She's 90 years old now, but she started in her early 80s. So she started forming new neural pathways in her brain. She had never done that before, and she actually does really, really well at it. And everybody was shocked because, we were like, wow. I told her, I said, Ma, I didn't know you knew how to paint. She said, I didn't either. I just went to the class. So another way you can do that, Costas, is by, if you want to get out of the same old, or if you want to, let's say renew your thinking or stimulate new neural pathways, you can learn technology, learn how to do all the features on your iPhone or your, Android or whatever it is. You can learn a hobby, whatever hobby, how to play a musical instrument, the piano, the guitar, that kind of thing. All of those things help. But your inner beliefs, okay, the things that you tell yourself about you, turn into either positive self-talk or negative self-talk. Okay? So when I'm suffering from some kind of negative self-talk. When I start telling myself, because if you do not control your brain will control you. It will attack you. Okay? And then sometimes something will happen, or I will do something and it will fail, or I will do something and it won't work. And then I go, oh man, that didn't work. And then what do you do when something doesn't work, when you try it and you fail? You start holding it against yourself a little bit, right? Okay, so I always have to counter that. So this morning, I have my affirmation. So I'm working on a new book here. But this is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about just saying your affirmations, okay? You have to write them. This is the book I just got through with. Okay, you have to write them. This is not journaling. It's affirmations. It's different. Okay? Now, if there's something that I feel that, wow, man, I took a hit, I failed at this or whatever, right? I start writing. And I start writing in the opposite. Why do you write in the opposite? Because you have to save yourself. The kingdom is within. I say this every day. Okay, Jesus Christ said the kingdom is within. All your answers are in here. Okay, seek and you shall find. Knock and the door shall open. Okay, you knock in here, you seek in here. So when you give the commands for this one to this one, okay, because you can do that, you have the authority. You have the authority, you have the power, and it tells you so in your Bibles if you're a Christian. Okay, it also says it in Buddhism in a little different way. In Taoism, in the Bhagavad Gita, in Hinduism. They're all echoing the same things, but they're putting it in different ways for you. Inner beliefs and mindset. Yeah, that's what we talk about. Who is that? AI. Okay. Okay. Well, AI is listening. Okay, nice. Okay. So, but inner beliefs are important. What do you believe about yourself? So some people go, well, it's not too humble to believe I'm smart. It's not too humble to believe I'm friendly. It's not too humble to believe I'm loving. Nonsense. Write it down. Okay, so one of the first things I have my clients do is write down 100 positive I ams. Write down, I am healthy. Are you healthy? Write it down. I am healthy. Are you suffering from something? What are you suffering from? Your muscles ache? Okay, so write down, I have strong muscles. Why? Your muscles aren't strong right now. Why would you write, I have strong muscles? Because you're reinforcing that thought in the subconscious, and if you repeat it, your subconscious starts to get the message. And this is not woo-woo, this is science. You can look it up. Muscles will strengthen. You can also visualize it. You have to visualize yourself getting stronger. In the NFL, for example, they sit the players down in front of these machines that run the plays with their number on it, and they watch the plays over and over and over. You're very welcome. And what happens is that when they get on the field and physically run the play, after having watched the play over and over in their mind, they run the play better. Now, how does that happen? It happens through the subconscious. Okay, so your inner beliefs are the same thing. Maybe today you don't believe in yourself. It's okay. There was a time when I didn't believe in myself either, And there was a time where I didn't even think of it. I didn't think of believing in myself. I didn't know the difference. Okay, so I didn't concern myself with it. When I was sleeping on the sidewalk, on the side of the Chinese theater that I used to sleep at, I was sleeping at the exit door. I wasn't mad at God. I wasn't mad at anybody. It was an adventure for me. I was in my early 20s. I never thought okay, Am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the wrong thing? I was just there. And I just experienced that kind of life. So now at this point in my life, I sit here for an hour every day and I give. So you can watch these. Jay, can you put up my Facebook address so that people on that platform can go to my Facebook, and because we pin the videos on Facebook, people watch them overnight, like when they're home from work and stuff. But the reason I'm telling you this is because I had a list of goals. You could call about I'm thinking about at a valorize it fantasy guy. They see me and they go, "Whoa, hey, congratulations! You actually did what you said you were going to do." I met this. I met this son of one of my classmates from high school, and I met him in a ballroom. I was there for. Thank you so much. Thank you for the follow, and I met him in a ballroom because I was there to do a certain professional function, and he came up to me and he goes, my dad told me about you, and I'm like, really? He said, yeah, my dad said that you're the guy that lives his dreams. And I was like, oh, wow. And it hit me in the heart, it did. Why did it hit me in the heart? Because since I was 12, the only thing I was focused on was my dreams. That's it. Because I had a mentor who told me, you can have, do, or be anything. Like you could live your dreams if you want to. You can do that. Okay, now there were certain guidelines, okay? So it wasn't like, because if I had my way, right, I'd be like, okay, I want to be Frank Sinatra. And that didn't happen because there's already a Frank Sinatra, right? Okay. But I wanted to do shows. I wanted to do, what, and then after I started, let's say diversifying, I wanted to do consulting because I saw an opportunity. I went to a feng shui seminar, and the master said, no, you would be really, really good at marketing and that kind of thing, PR, that kind of stuff. And so I created a company, and we started doing that. And our first client was a national chain. And we also achieved an objective with them that we set out to do. It took 3 years, but we did it. They were being picketed by the union. We got the union off the sidewalk. But it was a process. You don't just go up to a union and say, could you take your guys off the sidewalk? You don't do that. It's a process. There are steps. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter what you want to do, okay? When you start taking the baby steps, okay, the doors begin to open. God opens the doors. People, the right people, okay, come into play. The question is, what do you want to do? Number one, what? Number two, why? Why do you want to do it? For me, for a lot of stuff, I just wanted to experience it. I have one lifetime. This is all I have, one time. So the things that I want to try, I just do. I just pursue. I take the steps, the doors open, and I'm there. No, sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. If I don't like it, I stop doing it. And people go, wow, yeah, well, you started this thing over here and you didn't finish it. What happened? I was like, well, I didn't like it. Cannot do that because you're too heavy. I'm here to say nonsense. Don't buy into that. I know a girl who's the tiniest police officer in the country, and she lives here in Hawaii. She's tiny. She's really, really short. The shortest police officer. Now, there was a time when you had to have a height requirement, right? And I'm sure when she was younger, she knew about that. But her dream was to be a police officer. Eventually, guess what happened? They got rid of the height requirement. Boom, there you go. She got her dream. See? As you take the steps, you'd be surprised what happens. Did I get to do Frank Sinatra kind of, stuff? And yeah, I did. Did I get signed by a record company and get offered a huge contract? No, I didn't. God said, no, over here, you do a wedding and party business. And so I did that. Was it the same for me? Well, kind of, sort of. Now you have to sacrifice something for your dream. I sacrificed a contract, okay? I sacrificed a work schedule. I sacrificed rehab and drug addiction. I sacrificed all of that, okay? But the people that I saw that were being made famous, quote, end quote, all ended up in rehab. They all ended up in a bad way. Why? Well, because they were this conduit, okay, that everything ran through them. And eventually, right, what happens? It wears down, it wears out. Then what happens? Well, hey, here's some stuff to keep you going, right? And then pretty soon you get into that, and that's a repetitive cycle. This is all subconscious. Can you do it without drugs? Yeah, we did a pretty rigorous work schedule. We were doing 5 shows a weekend. That was a grind. Some Mondays I slept in all day because I was just burnt out from 5 shows a weekend. And sometimes there were 2 or 3 weekends like that in a row. But you see, sometimes when you take the steps towards things, right, and God opens the doors for you, He'll open it in such a way that what's not meant for you won't happen. Because why? Because God knows your heart. Okay, we talked about this yesterday. God knows your heart. What's your heart? Your subconscious beliefs, your core beliefs. God knows who you are. So we put God in the superconscious category. Conscious, subconscious, superconscious. The superconscious reacts to what's in the subconscious. The superconscious accommodates the core beliefs of the subconscious. What's the superconscious? The right hemisphere of your brain is where God lives. That's where intuition comes from. That's where inspiration comes from. That's where divine intervention comes from. Divine guidance comes from. It's the right hemisphere of your brain. This is why Jesus sits at the right hand of the Father. I tell you guys this almost every day. What's on the left? Ego. Logic. I can't tell you how many logical people, who are actually, very, very intelligent, very educated, gave me their educated opinion. Oh, no, this doesn't work that way. Oh, you can't do this way. You can't do that way. And I'm like, oh, really? And I did it anyway. And it worked. How did it work? It worked because the superconscious, God, knows the way. All you have to do is take the steps. If it's not meant for you, guess what? That door won't open. Okay, then you go over here. And then this door doesn't open? Okay, not meant to be, right? Okay. Do you believe in God? Because you can't be selective. Either you believe in God and you believe that everything's going to work out, or you can call it God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it, okay? I'm not here to tell you what to believe. But either it's that or life is just random. And how can life be just random? Right? If there's so many ways to get to one thing and you find the correct way that fits you. How does that happen? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Ah, John Tyler Tuck. Thank you, John. Thank you very much. I was wondering who sent that. Thank you. Thank you so much. But whatever you call that, okay, there is a divine energy in here, whatever label you want to put on it. I'm here to tell you, when you do meditation, you do not have to label anything. You just say thank you. You just ask. Ask, believe, receive. So the Bible is an owner's manual of the human being. So is the Bhagavad Gita. So is the Talmud. So is the Torah. So is the Quran. And then the differences are the individual dogmas. But all the same properties exist in each one. Why is that? Well, because we're human beings. You want to belong to this club? Okay, belong to this one. You want to belong to this club? Okay, this one. You're born into this club? Okay, that one. You want to stay in this? Okay, that one. And then if you don't want to believe that way later on, what do? You change it. You go to the next. Okay, I'm going to join this club now. And we're going to believe like this. I'm here to tell you, you don't need a club. It's not about belonging to a club. It's about tuning into this one. When you have the time to close your distractors, okay, tune in to exactly, precisely what and who you are. It will reveal itself to you. But you can't do it if you're just on the mouse wheel, on the merry-go-round, constantly occupied, stress, 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 work, 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 calendar, clock, all of those things. Why? Because it sucks you in and holds you. It binds you. You get bound to the calendar. You get bound to the clock. I used to race the clock every day when I worked for corporate. Way, way back, long time ago. Race the clock every day. And that was a game for me. It became a game for me. And I was good at it. I was good at beating the clock. Every day, beat the clock. Get all the work done before that kind of thing, right? And it was fun. I mean, I enjoyed it at the time. There was nothing wrong with it. After that, it actually set me up for my companies. When I started building my companies, it helped me immensely. I can't even tell you. The training, it was like boot camp that I went through. Beat the clock. Pretty soon I was doing it for myself. And this is what you're going to have to consider in this economy, in this world, in this AI world, in this modern world. You're going to have something. You're going to have to do something, or find something, or discover something about yourself that you can share, that you can do, that will make you money, because these other old parameters are failing, and they're going to disappear. And you're going to see a large part of the world start to disappear. Not physically, operationally. Because the system is being revised. In the Bible, the Holy Bible, Jesus says, I will be with you until the end of the world. When you translate this out from the original text, it actually says, I will be with you until the end of these systems of things. This is the esoteric meaning. End of what system of things? Well, the system of things. If you read Wallace D. Wattles' book, The Science of Getting Rich, okay, and basically I can cut to the chase and give you I can give you the answer. Okay, the science. Okay, the science is to do everything 100%, do everything thoroughly, and you cannot help but get rich. Okay, that's the bottom line of the entire book. That's a theme of the entire book. But in his book, he says, well, the industrial age happened for a reason. The railroads happened for a reason. They came, they served their purpose, and then they left. So we are in another age. Okay? And Jesus told us about this age. the new age, the age of Aquarius. If you want to see it, it's in the book of Matthew, where he says to follow the man with the water pitcher into the house and I will meet you upstairs. Where's upstairs? In the temple. Where does Jesus live? In the temple. In here. God lives in here. Jesus lives in here. The man with the water pitcher is the house of Aquarius, the age of Aquarius, where things will change. This is not woo-woo. This is, you can look these things up, but it's in your Bibles. So when systems change, humans resist change. Okay? And whatever we resist persists in us, in the subconscious. So what's the solution? Well, you need to adapt, you need to keep up. I know it's frustrating. It's frustrating. Back in 2007, I went down the rabbit hole, did all the research, did all this stuff. By 2010, we had to revise things already. Things are moving pretty fast. Okay, so our companies are all online now. That was the dream. Now I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do we get back to the physical world? Okay. Balance, right? Like I was talking about in the beginning of the live, balance. But if you don't have a solid inner belief in yourself, okay, because in here, where God lives, you are a co-creator with God. And we know this because you can create things, right? You can create drama, you can create good times, good vibes, right? You can create things. Some of you carve, you guys make carvings. Some of you create music, some of you create, right? Create. So the new age, or the age that we're moving into, the digital age, the technological age, is all going to be about what gifts you can offer from you, because everything else will be created. AI will create everything. 3D printers create all kinds of stuff now. So the only thing that's going to be of value, okay, which is why you have to believe in yourself, which is why you have to have those inner beliefs, is the experience you have to offer, the natural gifts you have to offer, your natural talents that you have to offer. How can you make a difference in the world? And how many people can you make a difference with? You have to provide value at a higher level than ever before because of AI, because it's escalating. What does that mean? Well, the fastest way to wealth, okay, and I thought this was a trick when I first heard it. You know, they go, the fastest way to wealth, right, is to help someone else with their dream first, and then you get to live your dream, right? And I didn't believe that until I went down the road teaching for so many years, and then all of a sudden, boom, my career just exploded. And I'm like, wow, maybe that's because I helped all these people. I don't know. I still don't know. I'm not here to tell you that. I'm not here to say, you know, that's what happened. I'm just saying that's what I did. I don't know if that's why it happened, but all of a sudden, boom. Okay? Then the popularity, then the notoriety, then the books, then the, you know, all of these things. But my focus, and it's always been, it's like a natural thing with me. It's always been that way. My focus is to help others. Which is why I have service companies and not product companies. So find the service you can provide to be of service to others, to be of service to other people, to help lift up other people. Because when you lift up other people, you're lifting up yourself. Ask yourself, how can I help more people? There's a lot of people right now asking that question. You know, this one, we have a senator in Hawaii who goes out and plants fruit trees along the side of the highway. It's illegal. It's illegal in our state, believe it or not. But they're doing it anyway. Why? Because we need food. Okay? Do you know some things to do every day to challenge his negative thinking? Yes, I just explained. So write affirmations. Do your affirmations. Okay, so write 100 positive I ams about you. I am happy. I am friendly. I am kind. I am loyal. I am whatever you are. Okay, write down 100 of them. You're welcome. And do it often. Okay? Do it twice a week if you can, if you have the time. Or whatever time that you have, do it. Because I was saying at the beginning of my life, when things go wrong with me, you know, when I fail at something, and I fail all the time, okay? So don't think that I'm here because I'm perfect. I'm here because I want to help. Okay, I fail all the time. And when I fail and I feel bad about it, I start writing affirmations in the opposite. I start writing about my successes. You know, part of my go-to is to put my name in a browser and look at all of the things I've done, because if you don't know where you've been, you don't know where you're going. Okay? So do that for yourself. Look at your resume. Look at all the things you've done. Look at your family. Look at all the children that you've raised. Okay? Look at your past. Look at all the grades you passed in school. First grade, second grade, third grade, high school diploma, college, whatever it is. But look at those successes of your life. Don't look at the negative stuff. Because if you look at the negative things you've done, you're going to end up with negative self-talk. You're going to start convincing yourself that you're not good enough. You're going to start convincing yourself that you don't deserve to be where you are, no matter where you are. This is why they say be grateful for where you're at. Because when you're grateful for what you have, when you're grateful for where you're at, you automatically get more. You automatically get more. Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. Exactly. Thank you, Jay. We have a chat going on over here. So the affirmations, real quick, okay? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization, that can change anything for you. Affirmations, write it down like I showed you. Okay, where's the pen? Okay. I am so happy and grateful now that I am confident. Thank you. I am so happy and grateful now that I'm a better parent, or I'm a great parent. I am so happy and grateful now that I'm a good brother. I am so happy and grateful now that I'm a great son. I'm so happy and grateful now that, okay? And just get to work on it, but write it down. You can't just say it. If you say it, okay, you'll have to say it a lot and for a long, long time for it to register in your subconscious. But it will register. If you say it with emotion, even faster. And this is why when you get mad and you swear at somebody, you know, and it's just like, bam, it's like that, it goes right into your subconscious. Okay. So if you want to scream at the top of your lungs that you are a great mother, or you are a great father, you are a great brother, sister, whatever, wife, husband, doesn't matter. It'll go into your subconscious faster, okay? Use your pillow. Nobody hears you when you do it in your pillow, right? Use your pillow, good tool. How is knowing God the maker of the materialistic? God made everything, all materials. There's more gold being made every day in the earth. So there's more jobs for gold miners. There's more jobs for people that make gold. There's more jobs for people that form gold into chains like this. It keeps going. It's always been. Mindset coaching, age of Aquarius, ask about self-belief. Okay? And that's what we're talking, that's AI, but that's what we're talking about. Spiritual and maternal. So spiritual, that's what you are in here. You're not your body, you're not your name, you're that energy that lives in here. The kingdom is within. When you focus on the kingdom, it says that in the Holy Bible. Okay? It says, first, seek the kingdom of God, and all else will be added unto you. So what do you desire in life? You know, What do you like? What are the things you like? The things you love and people you love. So I hear a lot of spiritual people, right? Oh, I'm spiritual. I believe, yes, I believe this, whatever. But they're broke. Oh, and I know rich people who are just not into, all they have are riches, but they don't understand how God works. They have the material things, but they focus on the material things and only the material things. They have no comprehensive knowledge of the spirit within. They have no understanding of this inside. Why? Because they have applied this, okay, to an object. We talked about this. We talked about worshiping money. Okay. That they love not, know not God, for God is love. Yep. First epistle of John. There you go. Yep, exactly. You were born into love energy. And then life happened. And some people, right, in the absence of love, which is, it's the yin and yang. It's the light and dark. Okay? You were born into love, and yeah, life happens. Things happen. And yes, we've all been victims of ourselves and others. It's always the survival of the fittest. But in order to recover from things that bring you down, in order to recover from maybe entities that make you feel less than, you have to go within. You have to go into the kingdom. And the reason why some people have a hard time with that is because your eyes look away from the kingdom. Your kingdom is inside, in here, not out there. But we look out there, so you have to close your distractors. Seek and ye shall find doesn't mean you go in the neighborhood and seek something. I took a walk through my neighborhood yesterday because I hardly do it like during the day. I do it in the early morning. I do my routine early in the morning. I wake up at 2 a.m. in the morning. I go running through the neighborhood, stuff like that. But yesterday I went when the sun was up so I could see like who lives here, that kind of thing. Right? And yeah, sometimes you have to stop and look around. Stop and appreciate the value of what you've been given. You've been given this life. You've been given this awareness. You are awareness. This does not expire. This does not die. This is eternal. This dies. Your body dies. See, my hair's getting gray already. Yeah, pretty soon this won't work. Then I'll have to leave it behind and I'll have to leave. The spiritual warfare is because of ignorance. Yeah, it totally because of ignorance. I agree. All children are ignorant until a certain. Okay, I gotta wait till this. I gotta put this up because I have until a certain age. Yes, totally agree. Totally agree, Tom. So sorry about the thing. We have 3 cameras going, and we have 7 platforms. But when you believe in yourself, okay, and sometimes that's a challenge, okay? So you need to keep writing it down. If you need to keep writing, I believe in myself, eventually you will start believing in yourself. So the only thing that goes against manifestation is counter manifestation, doubt and fear. Okay, when you say, I believe in myself, and then your second thought is, nah, who am I kidding? There you go, you doubted, right? Now you canceled it out. So be open. Give yourself a chance. I believe in myself. Thank you. Always express gratitude. I believe in myself. Thank you. I believe in myself. Thank you. Keep writing that down. If you do it once a day, you'll feel a difference in 2 weeks. Forgiveness is a tough one for me. Yeah. So forgiveness is for you, user. It's for you. God is very real. Yes. God is very real. All you need to do to feel God is to meditate. Just be still and be aware and listen and ask for more. Just ask. Ask, believe, receive. It's in all holy books. There's a reason why it's in all holy books. So forgiveness is for you. The reason why they say forgiveness is divine is because when you forgive someone, you're not saying you're going to be their friend. You're not saying you're going to love them. You're not saying anything. But you know what? You know this line of resentment that I have that's connected to you? That when I think of you, I feel bad? That when I think of you, I go, I remember what happened? That when I think of you, I have a bad feeling inside? Okay? Forgiveness takes this direct line and gets rid of it. That's what forgiveness is for, user. Forgiveness is for you. I've had to forgive a lot of people. I've also had to kick family members out of my life. Okay? Family are the people who value you. Family are the people that love you, that or like you, or are nice to you. If someone is just, non-existent, but they call you their family, but they're not there for you, but they're, whatever. Or they speak against you for whatever reason or whatever, however, whatever. It's not about hating them. It's about forgiving them and letting them go. You forgive and let go. You're very welcome. But forgive. Whoever you need to forgive for you, forgive them. Okay? And let them go. I had to do that with coworkers, with family, with former friends, with, a lot of people. And it's not a spiteful thing. I'm going to add this. Sorry, Jay. I'm going to, it has to be authentic from the heart. There you go, Tom. Exactly. Thank you. Aloha. Yeah. Okay, Wolf to Wolf Dog. Have a good day at work. We'll see you tomorrow morning. We'll be here, 7 a.m. Hawaii time. So anyway, my closing thought on that is, you forgive to free yourself from the resentment, because when you resent someone, it's like underlying anger that exists, okay? But it's so small that you don't always think about it. But when you think about that person, guess what? You get that negative emotion again, okay? And that's bad for you. That will lower your self-esteem. It will lower your opinion of yourself. It will make you feel bad about yourself, okay? So the best thing to do is forgive so that that direct line goes away. And now you are free. The other person is free. You have let them go. You have let yourself go from that direct connection to a negative emotion, okay? I'm Junior. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, guys. Love you guys. Thank you for being here. So we're going to let go of our international feed on